I accept myself now. My past, my aspirations, my hopes, my dreams, my achievements, and my mistakes all merge within the present moment. I relax into who I am. I accept myself as I am. I tune into the silent stillness of my being and connect with the original qualities of my spirit. Gentleness, strength, happiness, with gentleness, I live a life of love, not control, love. I have the strength to pursue my own journey, to find truth, and to live truth. When I am at one with the love inside me, I experience happiness. In the pure simplicity of my spirit, I find only love. Not the desire to control or direct, but real love. A love that surrounds me in gentleness and acceptance, contentment and humility. I am love. I allow the experience of love, not seeking it externally, but recognizing it as part of my inner nature. I feel the power of this love, uplifting me and awakening my innate divinity. I become love. I allow love to radiate through my spirit and reveal itself in my thoughts, my words, my actions. I observe without judgment, and I reveal love. I speak without arrogance, and I teach love. I act without complexity, and I become love. As I become love, I become divine. I am divine, and my life expresses the pure gentleness of my spirit. I feel a deep sense of belonging to the world, and the world belonging to me. Through the power of my own divinity, I cooperate with love's task of revealing truth and healing the world.
Hi, so Om Shanti again. So how did you find the meditation just now? Good? Yeah. Okay.
I found it really nice.
It's about, having a really elevated vision on the self that we are beings of love. And this is who we are, actually. So let's go back to what we did last week. We did a revision on the topics of the soul, the supreme soul, and the law of karma. and given you some homework to do. So did you manage to meditate each day? You did your traffic control, and also did you manage to write that letter, that divine letter? Would you like to share your experience about the week?
Yeah, it was very good. I've managed to sort of go a bit deeper into the meditation and doing it morning and night, which was something that I hadn't been doing enough, and also actually doing a bit of traffic control.
Wonderful.
Not as much as I could have, but still a bit more than I have been.
It's
and
good
I
stuff.
noticed that actually stopped me from. There was one time when I was going to get upset at what somebody had said to me, and because of the traffic control, I let it pass by, and that was something that I haven't been able to do before.
It's very
So
good.
I was really pleased with that. And the letter was just beautiful. It was just so beautiful, both letters, both the letter to and from.
Yeah, the letter that writes to us, it really provides us with an elevated vision on myself.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
So it was really good. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. Yes,
I managed to meditate more often than not, but still not every day. But I find when I do before I'm going to sleep, I get a much better quality of sleep, and I fall asleep much easier. And I found the letter really nice, especially the letter to myself from the and I found that was just like, it was me giving myself good reminders to be forgiving of myself and be kind to myself and things like that.
Yeah. So we can do this letter not only once, like as our homework, as often as we feel that we would like to receive a letter from Baba, then we can start writing again. Yeah, because it's very, very uplifting. Because Baba always sees us as our best. And sometimes I forget, and I, think of myself like in a not so positive way, because of a response from other people's vision on me. But the more I get connected with Baba, the more I feel that positive energy from Baba. And that is like a protection that I protect myself from any negative influence.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me that like I have the power, and that it's just things inside of me that I need to bring out more. And like it's already there, and it's a like reminder.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, Melinda, would you like to share something? Sorry, we can't hear you. You have your mic on, but we can't hear you. No, we still can't hear you. Okay, you got your mic off now. Yep. And maybe try in a little while and see. Yeah. And I think, Brooke. Yep.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
So I probably didn't meditate every day either, but I definitely meditated more often. And I think the check-ins were more frequent. I would like to get a watch that could beep every hour. That would be really convenient, so that I would do more. But yeah, similar to Mandy, I had a situation at work where I was furious with these people, and I did stop and think, you know, you're all God's creation, just like me, and I just maybe don't understand you. And so, yeah, and that really helped me feel more at peace. And it just kind of melted away all my anger and frustration. And it was a really nice experience. I think my letter was also interesting. It was very positive from God, but my letter to him was all questions. 100% questions. And I was like, oh. And my last question was, if I sit with you more often, will I get more answers?
Yeah. It's good. It's good. Yeah. Because yes, we do get answers. So
Yes, I get.
yeah, the answers come maybe in different ways. Sometimes some people they could really get like touchings from God. So everyone is different. Or sometimes we get those answers when we converse with another person. Or sometimes when we read something. Or sometimes when we have our spiritual class and I hear something. That's the answer. So answers come in different ways. But definitely, but what we need to do is we need to have a clear line. We need to have a clear line of contact. So, and that clear line of contact is when we stay as much as possible being in the awareness that I'm a soul, like in that soul conscious state, or like when my mind has not so many negative thoughts, that's when I'm soul conscious, then that connection is good, and then I get touchings. Otherwise, when my mind is too busy with my self-talk or too busy with whatever negativity, then I won't be getting any touchings at all. Yeah.
Do you feel like when you connect that you get like a rush of light? Yeah?
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
I do feel that sometimes, and then I'm like this rush of light where everything just gets brighter, and then it passes, and I just don't know if that's because I get distracted and I just can't concentrate.
Yeah, a rush of light, or that fuzzy feeling of warmth. Yeah, so that's when we have a good connection. But sometimes when I'm too conscious of that connection, then sometimes that connection also disappears. So we need to focus, but also we need to how do I say? Just be in that moment. Like we feel that light, we feel that power. Sometimes it's very strong, very powerful. We feel that love. Just stay there. Just stay there. Yeah. And Melinda, are we able to hear you this time?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Great.
Sorry, I got new earphones, but they worked for work today, but not tonight. Anyway, I'm sorry about that.
No.
Yes, thank you, and hello, everybody. I wrote a letter on Sunday when I was in another BK workshop down at Wilton, and I sat out around some beautiful trees and listened to the birds and wrote a letter. It was quite intentional. So whilst I was writing about what I'm incredibly grateful for, I then started writing sort of almost like a wish list, I guess, which was quite pragmatic. But I guess, it probably a little bit, Brooke, like asking questions, but instead of questions, I was sort of just phrasing things as my intention. Yeah, so that's where I actually got up to sort of really being clear on some intentions and really being quite, very directive in what what that sort of, I guess, wish list actually is. So I don't know if that's kind of being a bit demanding or or not. So I'm happy to get your advice on that approach, May.
Yeah. We can be, excuse me, we can be as creative as we want with the letter. So, and it's more, the exercise is more to, it's like, because so often we have these negative, excuse me, we have negative vision on ourselves. And when there's a negative vision on ourselves, then it also leads to negative vision on others. And then relationship will be, not so smooth sometimes. It's all because of me. And so when I remember what Baba's vision is on us, then then things change. So again, this is going back to that the basics about being soul conscious. It's really an exercise, because when we write the letter, either the letter or the wish list, whichever, we actually, knowingly or unknowingly, we are in that soul conscious state. We're in that in that elevated state. So, and in that way, everything works. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, May. I mean, I deliberately, I guess, wanted to write the letter from being in that very sort of respected or elevated space, and just really being in tune with, for me, the natural world, and position myself and calm and settle myself, and then it just flowed out in my notebook.
It's amazing. Yeah. So as I said, we can do that letter as often as possible. Like, it's also good to start the habit of perhaps writing to Baba each night, just like as a little reporting in what my day is like. You can do it as a writing, or you can, just have like a conversation with Baba before we go to bed. And sometimes writing is more effective, because we're putting that in writing. But one way or another, because that also helps us close the day. It's very important. And also, before we go to sleep, it's very, very important to say good night to Baba. Then I sleep in a soul conscious way. And as Melissa was saying, we sleep better, our sleep quality is good, and then that will help me with the next day. Also helps me get up bright and more accurate the following day as well. So, and the first thing we do when we wake up is to say good morning to Baba, reaffirming who I am, that I'm this beautiful child of Baba, and then hello Baba, and then have some meditation. So when we start this as a routine, then see how your day then goes on. Okay. Do you have any question or any comments so far? No? Okay. So let's move on then to our topic of today. Yes. Okay. So we start today on the world drama cycle. So before we start this topic, actually, I would like to share two basic concepts about time. So the cycle is in relation to time. and how we see time. So one thing is our understanding is that time is cyclical. So if we look at nature, so we have day and night, and then day and night. So day and night keeps going. And then when we look at, say, the season, so we have spring, summer, autumn, winter, and then it repeats itself, although now perhaps sometimes it's a bit confusing, spring, winter, autumn, whatever. But it repeats itself like in a normal way, it repeats itself cyclically. So it's cyclical. So time in our understanding is that goes as a cycle. And the second thing about time is the law of entropy. So the law of entropy, can you see this? Do I need to write this better? Yeah, okay. The law of entropy is about when things, that everything that starts new will become old. So if I look at, say, we started as babies, then we move into being a child, adolescent, and then we get old, and then this body has an expiry date, then we start becoming a baby again. And when we look at, say, a house, we build a new house. It's very nice to live in a new house, but then gradually the house needs constant maintenance. And it will reach to such a state that sooner or later, we need to pull down the whole house and get a new one, start a new house again. So everything that starts new will become old. Okay? So based on these two concepts about time being cyclical and also the law of entropy, then we start to share about, the world drama cycle. So, if I could ask you to keep an open mind, and also we share this, it's more like we're sharing a story. Okay, so at the beginning of time, so souls, we stay in the soul world, and then from the soul world, souls then come down into this physical world for us to play our part. And as we first come down from the soul world into this world stage to play our part as actors, so at the beginning, the stage is very beautiful. So everything is new at that time. Everything is plentiful. Everything is in abundance. So, and at that time, souls who come down from the soul world, we at that time are completely pure. So we are what we call all virtuous. So full of all virtues, and in that way, we also have a very good relationship with each other. The relationship is based on one of love and respect. The relationship is very harmonious, and because of our complete purity, nature also cooperates with us. So that's why everything is in abundance, and there's no extreme weather. So weather is always like spring, and the fruits would be so delicious. We only need to eat very little because everything is full of nutrition. The population at that time is also very small, so it's like we live in a global village. And so, as being all virtuous, we practice non-violence. So there's complete love, complete respect, complete harmony. is what we call a world without sorrow. So there's only happiness, no sorrow. And it's not for just one day or for a month, it's for a quarter of the cycle. So this is what we call the golden age. And we call this it's like spring. And because of our purity, our lifespan at that time is very long. We live to up to 150 years old. So it's like paradise. It's heaven on earth. And what really, really attracts me about the golden age is, one is because of that purity, and two, it's a world of total happiness. And so we live there as like what we call deities. So as human beings, but all virtuous, full of all virtues. Really, it's like godlike. Okay, so and we call this is like spring. We call this the Sun Dynasty. So and there's love, but no attachment to our own body. So when it's time for us to leave this body, then we have no fear of death, because we will have a vision that I'm going to become a baby again, and then we'll just leave the body like that. So everything goes very, very smoothly, and we are in complete soul consciousness at that time, but not knowing that we're soul conscious. So we just completely be in the moment, completely happy, and just every day is a day of celebration. So there's we don't have to worry about work or anything. So every day is a day of pleasure. We learn, we study, but study is not like how we study now. We study the arts, we study music, we study painting and everything else, singing and all that. So got some pictures here of the golden age. So let's see. Yeah. So if we have a look, so everything is green and beautiful. And then there's lots of singing and dancing. And we live in palaces. Okay. There's a lot of wealth at that time. So wealth in terms of, physical wealth, but also in terms of course, of that we're all virtuous. So spiritually, we're all multi-billionaires. Okay, so this is the golden age. But then, because of the law of entropy, everything that starts new will become old. So that means from the day when the golden age starts, there's a slight decline, but in decline in terms of our purity. But at the beginning, that decline is very, 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 very slow. So for a quarter of the cycle, we enjoy the golden age in complete happiness. There's no mention of sorrow, there's no fear, no sudden death. So everyone is just happy, complete happiness that we enjoyed. And then gradually we come to summer. So and this is what we call the silver age. So everything is like the golden age. The golden age is paradise, it's heaven, and the silver age is semi-heaven. So everything is still very good, but everything is just a little bit less because of entropy. Does this all make sense to you? And so we call the golden and silver ages the first half of the cycle. So the golden age is like spring, and we see in this beautiful tree that is full of butterflies and very, very beautiful. And then the silver age is summer. The tree is full of fruits and still very beautiful. So there's not a lot of difference between the golden and silver ages, just very, very tiny difference. And then we come to what we call the copper age. And when copper age is like autumn. So we could see that all these autumn leaves in this tree here. Although there's not a lot of difference between the golden and silver ages, there's a significant difference between the silver and copper ages. So the big difference is because in the first half of the cycle, we are naturally so conscious. We just live as spirits. But then from the copper age onwards, we start to become body conscious in the sense that we have started to forget that we are spiritual beings. We start to get attached to our bodies in the sense that, okay, I identify myself as who I am, like I'm so and so and all that. Whereas in the golden and silver ages, we just naturally be. And so because of gradually becoming body conscious, then we feel that there's a void in us. We feel that there's something missing. And from the copper age onwards, then we start to look out. Excuse me. And the first thing that we look out for was for God. Because we feel that when we look out for God, then there's this feeling of that inner void that is there. And so it is from the copper age onwards that religions started. So different religious founders came and established their different religious beliefs. So at the beginning we have Abraham, then we have Buddha, Christ, and then we have other religious founders. And we'll go into further detail of that when we go to talk about the tree of life next week. So, but the main thing also is because of the start of body consciousness is not the world of happiness anymore. So there's duality in the sense that there's happiness and sorrow. It's all because of that gradual decline of purity, that there's happiness and sorrow. And then we move on from the copper age to the iron age. And if we look at this tree here, if we look at the tree here, it's a tree that is completely barren. So the iron age is the age of darkness, as we can tell from this dark patch here. So the copper age is where there's duality, where there's happiness and sorrow. The iron age is where there is sorrow and sorrow and sorrow. So there may be momentary happiness, but most of the time is sorrow, 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 because we become completely body conscious. So this is the world in general. So from the golden age through the silver age, copper age, and the iron age. So where do you think we are at the moment? You know, the world in general? Where do we feel that we are at the moment?
What's the confluence age?
Okay. The confluence is between the Iron Age and the Golden Age, and the confluence age is a very, very significant time. But like, if we just focus on the 4 ages at the moment, where do you think we are at the moment? I'll explain the confluence age in a minute.
That's really hard. I want to be at least in the Copper Age, but with the way that the world is, I think we might be closer to the Iron Age, where there's just so much sorrow in the world, and happy moments are very few and far between. But it's sad.
And do the others agree that the world in general is in the Iron Age at the moment?
Yes, it certainly seems that way. But I think, you know, if we can actually keep moving through this age and stage, that there are and there have been many positives and opportunities out of this deep, dark stage and this sorrow.
Yes, yes. And
I would like to hope that we're moving more to when you describe the confluence age. But that, again, that could be my optimism and my wish list.
Well, you are completely right, Melinda. We are moving to the confluence age. Yeah, and I'll explain the confluence age in a minute. Yeah, but I could see that Brooke disagree. Well, would you like to say something, Brooke?
I just disagree that we're living in like this horrible times. I think this is just a symptom of the news. And if you stop reading and watching and consuming news, which is so negative and so dramatized and actually has nothing to do with your day-to-day interactions with people generally, if you just get rid of all the news, like we are living in the most prosperous, most wonderful, most glorious time where life is so enjoyable, and people have never been as happy as they are today in like history. Just go watch some movies from the 1800s. You'll be like, thank frigging God I live today. I like live where I can get a job and I'm not raped and I'm not sold to people. And like, I mean, we live in the greatest time ever to be alive. I think this is just a symptom of the news and especially maybe this pandemic thing, but I mean, it's just an illness, it's a virus. Yeah, I'm not so negative.
Yeah, well, I'm very, very glad that you have that innate positivity in you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And Mandy, what do you think where the world in general is at the moment? Oh, sorry. Do you mind unmuting? Put your mic on, please.
Oh,
yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry. I think that we're in the Iron Age in the fact that that the Earth is sort of disintegrating, and you know, like there's fires everywhere, and there's earthquakes and all that sort of thing. But I think it's also what we make it. We can make it the golden age. We can make it the silver age. We can. I think we have the ability to make it whatever age we want it to be.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, well, at the moment, the world in general is in the Iron Age because, like as Mandy said, the world is really depleted at the moment. And like I'm saying, the world in general, in terms of like there are lots of calamities and natural disasters, and these natural disasters cause sorrow. And also, people are a lot of the times, well, they're still very, very good people, but also a lot of the times people's behavior is also not as what they were in the golden age, say, for example, because there's a lot of sorrow that people cause for others, wars, etc. And so in this, we are in this world of sorrow, and sometimes um, there is momentary happiness, but there's a lot of sorrow, and maybe like Mandy and Brooke, you and Melinda, and you have that natural kindness in you that you see, positivity even in trying circumstances. But in a lot of places, horrible things are happening. We have centers all over the world, and we heard stories about, sometimes people who, when they are having morning class, then outside there may be some shooting happening, like in places like in Africa. And so at the moment, well, we're in actually we are really we're actually having good karma as such, because we're sitting comfortably here in such a peaceful environment that we can share this in a fearless environment. But outside in other parts of the world, and even in some areas in Australia still, the world is not what we would like it to be. But so this is the world in general, and yet there's this confluence age here that people have mentioned what this is, and this is a very, very interesting time, because the confluence age is like an age that's superimposed onto the Iron Age. It's more like a consciousness, and when we are so conscious, when we know what is happening and we would like to do something so that we could go back to our original purity and be ready to go back to the golden age, then when we are in that consciousness, then we are in the confluence age. So the confluence age is the bridge between the Iron Age and the golden age. It's a very, very special time, because it's only in this particular age that we are going upwards. So all through the cycle, we go downhill. So we go from completely pure in the golden age, then we gradually become impure until such time in the Iron Age when we are completely impure. And yet, when it's the confluence age, we are aware of how pure we were before, and how we lived in harmony, how we respect others, and how loving we are. And we are making an effort to go back to that original purity. So when we are in that consciousness, then we are in the confluence age. But when I get angry, when I get disappointed about things, and I become violent, in the sense that maybe physically I'm not violent, but I'm violent up in my mind, then in that way, I'm actually back in the old world, back to the Iron Age. So is this clear? Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, is there any sort of indication or idea of how long this cycle takes place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, so golden, silver, copper, and iron ages. So they all occupy a quarter of the cycle, and that this confluence age is superimposed onto the Iron Age. we call this the leap age, the age to leap back into the golden age. So our understanding is that the whole cycle is a cycle of 5,000 years. And so each quarter is 1,250 years. This is our understanding. And you may think that, oh no, it seems that what history tells us is that the world, is a much longer, is a much longer duration. But also, there's something I haven't really gone into a lot of study about carbon dating, but someone tells me, or there's reading about carbon dating that's not 100% accurate. And also, there's also a study by a group of with a group of little children. I think they call siphons, those children who are very bright, and yet they're only bright in certain things. And so with this group, there's the experiment with playing with this group. So they were given marbles, and by just a glance, they could count how many marbles there are. So maybe 100, 200, 300. By a glance, they can see all that. They can count up to 5,000. When it was above 5,000, they became confused. They could not count that anymore. So there's deep secret in this 5,000 number. And so our understanding is that then after this, then another cycle will start again. So at the moment, we are in the confluence age, and then it's like the clock, it's like 5 minutes to 12. So we have very, very little time here to prepare ourselves to go back to the golden age, to enjoy paradise on earth, and enjoy, spring. Does this make sense? How does this sit with you?
I think it's really beautiful.
I guess I could see that, because I think like things are getting better, right? So in the confluence stage, we are dramatically going up.
Yes.
So we would have come through the worst, and now things are dramatically getting better. I could see that, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. And Melinda, you were going to say something?
Yes. In my letter, I actually wrote, and part of the wish list or question was about, what or who can bridge. So when you said that the confluence age is like a bridge, really resonated in terms of, that sense of, we do need to cross over so many things, or cross, journeys and time and life and experiences. So that certainly made a sense. That was my first point. My second point is, I think as you were explaining, that there's like the macro, the big picture of this, but it can play out in very small and micro. As you said, even in a moment or throughout the day, we might move in different parts of this cycle. So we can kind of really bring it right down to a very small, everyday kind of way of being in our mood and behaviours and action, thoughts and words and deeds, etc., as well as sitting it in a much bigger kind of historical context. That one way of kind of holding it in a couple of different ways.
It's exactly right. So it's so what we saw just now is like the macro scale, and there are, in terms of the micro scale, there are two things. One is Okay, so this is the world in general. But then, believe it or not, there are still some souls in the soul world, and they're waiting to come down still at this time. So when a soul who comes down from the soul world, brand new, so the soul world is a world of complete purity. So any soul who comes down from the soul world brand new into this physical world, they are in their golden age. So when this soul who comes down at this moment, who is just born into this world as a firstborn, completely brand new, this soul is in its golden age, although the world is in general is in the iron age. So the soul will very quickly catch up with the general atmosphere. So maybe in a birth or in maybe a few years, then the soul will go through golden age, silver age, copper age, and then catch up with the world in general in the iron age. Does this make sense? But then also, like as Melinda said, sometimes I feel that, you know, my morning is like that I'm in the golden age because I wake up fresh. I have my meditation, so I'm in a completely good stage. And then when I'm not careful, as soon as someone says something to me, I could become angry. I could have gone down to the copper age immediately, maybe not 100% angry, but I feel irritated. And then gradually, if I don't watch myself, gradually I become angrier and angrier. And so like maybe if I forget to do my traffic control, if I forget to be in that meditative state, in the middle of the day, I could be in the iron age already. So how much careful I have to be all the time, what awareness I have to keep, and how vigilant I need to watch my stage. So it's an ongoing process, but the good thing is, even though we are in the iron age, and when we're in that consciousness of the confluence age, we are there. Our aim actually is at the moment to create our golden age. That consciousness, although physically we are not in the golden age, we could create that consciousness. And when the timing is right, then we'll all go back together in the golden age. So does this make sense to you?
Yes, it does. But can I say something like, is the confluence age like a chance where we can, it's like you're sowing the seed for the golden age, so that every time you think a positive thought, it creates a seed for the world to become like in the golden age.
Yeah, exactly.
So the more positive thoughts and pure thoughts we have, the more we're sowing the seeds for the golden age.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it is at the confluence age, in this very special age, it is at this time then we are consciously creating positive karma to offset whatever we have done in the past, because in the copper and iron ages, because we've been body conscious, so in the second half of the cycle, we have created a lot of negative karma, knowingly or unknowingly. So our karmic account at this time is in a negative balance, whereas in the confluence age, like as Mandy said, we are sowing those positive seeds, and so we are consciously creating positive karma to offset whatever negative karma we have created in the past. And again, this is to pave way for us to get ready to go to the golden age. So, and And that's why we practice our meditation, so that we become a better person. Not only a better person, but we become deity-like, we become God-like. We can never be God, but we can become God-like. And because in the Golden Age, deities are like gods, gods and goddesses. And in our spiritual classes, we're reminded that we are becoming princes and princesses. So that elevated consciousness. Is this making sense to you?
Yes, thank you, May. My question was going to be about how the law of karma transposed onto the cycle, and you've actually just explained that and answered that. So thank you.
Thank you. And also, like, there's something also about neutral karma. So we have positive karma, we have negative karma, and also there's also neutral karma. And well, in this physical world now, when we say neutral karma is something like as I'm brushing my teeth, you know, when I'm washing dishes, these are things that don't create any negative karma, or it doesn't create any positive karma. That's what we call neutral karma. But when we look at the ages, the golden and silver ages is where there is neutral karma, in the sense that there's actually nothing bad to compare with the good in that sense. So because every action that we perform in the golden and silver ages are good action. And no one is actually in need of anything for me to do anyone any favor. So in that way, our action in the golden and silver ages are neutral. And so the conference age, this very special age, this very special time, is the time that also is the time that we are aware of the role that God plays, that we together with God are creating our own future and also creating this new world, so that we get transferred to the new world together. Is this making sense to you? So we use a lot of contrast between the first half of the cycle and the second half. So we call the first half of the cycle the golden and silver ages, the new world, and the second half, the copper and iron ages, the old world. So, and the first half is where there is light. The second half is where there is darkness. The first half is where there is purity. The second half is where there is impurity. So there are lots and lots, a lot more contrasts that we use. And all these we learn as we go through our spiritual classes in the morning. Okay, so I mentioned that the first half is when we are elevated, and the second half is when we are asleep. The first half is where there's unity, where there's one religion, one language, and one kingdom. Because at that time, the world is a complete world mass, a complete land mass. There's no division. And then in the second half, there are innumerable religions, innumerable languages, and innumerable kingdoms. So the population in the first half of the cycle is small, and then gradually population increases. And intellect, the first half of the cycle, we have an unlimited intellect. It's a very elevated intellect. And in the second half of the cycle is what we call a stone intellect, is very, very limited. And souls in the first half of the cycle, they are sweet and charitable, whereas in the second half of the cycle, they are bitter and uncharitable. So gradually, we learn about all these through our spiritual classes, and we'll talk more about our spiritual classes in a couple of weeks. Yeah. So how does this all sit with you? Are you comfortable with all this? Are you okay, Brooke, with all this? It may take a bit of time to digest. Okay. So sometimes, too much information is not that good. I think, like the general concept, especially that we are transferring ourselves now from the Iron Age. Let's go back to this one. From the Iron Age, from winter, we're going back to spring. So our consciousness in the Iron Age is very, very limited, and people are very, very body conscious. Whereas in the Confluence Age, we know what is happening, and we are also making an effort to go back to our original purity, be ready to go back to the Golden Age and to enjoy that complete happiness. So this is kind of like the general concept. When we know that this is the only time that we go, we know what is happening, because for a long time, especially when we started worshipping and all that, when we started to become religious minded and all that, for a long time we've been searching for God, and it is only at the Confluence Age that we now understand who God really is and who we ourselves really are. Is this okay? Do you have any comments or any concern?
I quite like this. I think that it's really hopeful. Because I think we are in a stage where we're slowly getting to the Confluence Age, where we are trying to reconnect with our roots of being pure and love and happiness. And so I think that it's just like really hopeful that we're going to eventually get there and get back to connecting into the Golden Age of where we're more pure and things are more enjoyable and happiness.
Yeah. Imagine is for half the cycle that we have that happiness. It's not just 1 year, it's half the cycle. So it's really, really worth making the effort, because we are so close to going back to the Golden Age now. So it's only like in this birth that we're making effort, and then it's actually a very good bargain. In one birth we make effort, and then we enjoy happiness in half the cycle, and sometimes even Baba says like 3/4 of the cycle, because the Copper Age is not really that bad. It's really the Iron Age, is really the age of darkness, or even the last couple of 100 years that the world things really went extremely bad. And so, yeah, we do have to make a bit of effort to go back to our original purity, because we've come down a long way. And so, and this little effort that we make now, little effort in terms of, is a very short duration in terms of the whole cycle that we make effort, and then we enjoy that much more. Yeah. Is that okay? Okay, so we'll have some meditation now. If you are comfortable. Yeah. Okay. So this meditation is called spinning the cycle of self-realization. So spinning the cycle of self-realization. So the first act is when we are in the soul world. I am resting in my home, a world of golden red light. I am totally immersed in peace and silence. I am in a stage of inaction. I am waiting backstage before going to play my part in the world drama. The moment I descend into a body, I begin to perform action. I begin to create accounts with other souls. In the golden and silver ages, the stage of neutral action. I am a pure soul in a new world. I am full of my original qualities. I feel no lack of anything, and so I have the sanskars of perfection go immediately into action. No worry, hesitation, indecision. There is no difference between thought and action. My pure thoughts are spontaneous. The balance in me is reflected in the whole world. When my thoughts and actions are simultaneous, I am a natural ruler. My actions are not bondages, and there is no question of doing good or bad. To whom will I do good when all others are perfect? I do not have the capacity for evil. This stage of the soul is one of complete bliss. And then we enter the copper and iron ages, the stage of negative action. I become body conscious. I forget my original attributes. I'm confused. My judgment about which actions will bring peace and happiness is impaired. Between thought and action, the block of conscience appears. I begin to act in such a way as to cause loss and pain to myself and to others. This pain creates the desire to be free from it. When I act with another under the impulse of body conscious desire, this manifests as anger, greed, ego, lust, or attachment. The immediate or long-term suffering will be experienced by the other, and by the law of reaction, that suffering will return to me in exact proportion. I go further down into the spiral of suffering and desires. In ignorance, I continue to create bondages that reinforce my ignorance. I become more and more attached to the fruits of the seeds which I sow, and I find many disappointments and deceptions. With no knowledge of my true self, I can never break this vicious cycle. The more I'm brought into bondage, the more I seek the one who is above bondage, God. I look for release by going to others and find that they are also in bondage. They are also looking for a way out. And then we come to the conference age, the stage of positive action. Through the highest form of karma, I'm able to balance my accounts of negative actions and become light. If I act as a world benefactor like my spiritual parent, the Supreme Soul, then the reaction is automatically beneficial. When I meditate and connect with the Supreme, extreme peace and bliss flow into me and through me into the world. I am able to spread the Supreme's love to every part of the world. I now fix myself in my eternal consciousness. I sit with my divine parent as a soul. I sit as a soul in the awareness of my eternal relationship with the Supreme Soul. I understand that in this awareness, I can spread the fragrance of complete purity, complete love, and complete peace to all souls. I understand how I can be beyond the limits of physical consciousness. I dance internally with the joy of this pure experience. I experience within me the joy, the peace, the power, and the purity which will later emerge creatively in a world where every member of society expresses pure emotion. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. How was the meditation? Was it okay? A slogan that when I change, the world changes. So I'm the one who has to change. I'm the one who have to change and then that would flow on to the world. And so now we know our past as deities, and we know our future. We know our present, being an effort maker, and we know our future, that we're going back to that original purity to become a deity again. So we know our past, present, and future. So this is what we call being a knower of the three aspects of time. We not only know the present moment, but we know our past and our future. So we become all-knowing in that way. Does this make sense to you? So the homework for this week is, again, like, keep on meditating, and meditate as soon as we wake up. It's very important. As soon as we wake up, we affirm who we are, that we are a child of God, that I'm this beautiful child of God, I'm this sweet child of God, and then have some meditation, and then in the evening we have some evening meditation to wrap up the day. And during your meditation you can spin the cycle, so it adds variety to our meditation, because every meditation is different. Yeah, and keep on doing the traffic control so that we keep tab on the day, throughout the day, how I'm behaving. You know, my meditation, how good my meditation is dependent on how I spend my day. If I'm so conscious during the day, my meditation will be so good and so easy. I don't have to struggle to connect with the Supreme. When I'm the whole day, I practice being so conscious. Otherwise, I'll have to make an effort, to connect. So it's all connected. Our whole day is all connected. So is that okay? So as much as possible, try spinning the cycle and seeing yourself that we are doing our best to practice going back to the golden age and be in that golden age of consciousness now, that I'm loving, I'm kind to others, I experience happiness. In whatever I do, I bring happiness to others. I'm in harmony with others and all that. And in that elevated consciousness to donate to the world, because when we meditate, it's good to send good wishes to the world, because the world is very much in need of that at the moment. So is that okay? So that's the homework for the week. Okay? Right. And so we'll meet again next Tuesday. Okay.
Thank you, May.
Right, thank you. Unless you have any more questions.
Detailed class. Thank you very much for that and for the meditations.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you, May. May.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, May. I think tonight's class was really beautiful.
Thank you. See ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.